Quency was released a few hours ago. We were doing pulls live earlier. If you want to go watch our Core 7 pulling session, another MLB and my own pulls, feel free to watch the previous live. But we've been testing a little bit, so let's talk about our first impressions on Quency Escape Queen. This is a really good character. We were expecting both Phantom and Quency to be good. So far, Quency is exceeding our expectations, and she's actually pretty nice. So let's talk a little bit about, again, first impressions. Tier list is not updated. That will take a couple more days of testing. I was running the test on Scarrow's account as usual. Thank you, Scarrow, for letting me test, and congratulations on reaching level 800. You almost double me in level. So we're gonna be talking a little bit about the test we were running, how to properly build her, or at least right now what it looks like it's gonna be the proper way of building her, and initial thoughts on Quency Escape Queen. I'm actually gonna go into the Wikipedia. It's gonna be easier this way, so we can see values as level 10, and then we can talk a little bit about the gear, the cube, and everything else. So first of all, as you all know, she's an SMG. That was like the biggest issue we had, right? Now, how did Shift Up fix SMGs? They didn't. They took Soline's kit and made it even stronger and without any type of conditions attached to it. As you all know, Soline needs to be 100% HP. The moment she drops to 99%, she loses her damage. The case with Quency is not the same, right? She will keep her damage all the time, and this is pretty good. Water, which is also nice because we didn't have proper water DPSs. You have Dorothy and you have Winter Ludmilla. Those were like the only good ones. And then you have Emilia, which is more for PvP rather than PvE. But now we have Quency and Phantom as well, which is a nice addition. And then missiles. So let's talk a little bit first about her base damage. It's 5%. You might think it's too low, but it's double SMG, so it's 10 point something %. And then let's talk about her skills, gear, Q, and then my initial thoughts if you should pull, skip, dupes or not. So first of all, when it comes to investment, she's a needy girl, alright? She's a character that needs heavy investment, not only on the skills but also on the gear. You want to go at least 7, 10, 10. Now, could you go lower? Yes, you can be going lower, of course, right? You could go a 4, 7, 7 if you want. Priority, some people are saying is skill 2, some people is saying burst. Looks like both are pretty good, so I will focus on both, I'm gonna be honest. Skill 2 and burst are the priority. So a 4, 7, 7 if you are super low on resources, a 7, 10, 10 if you can afford that. Some people are saying a skill 1 at 4 is enough, but honestly speaking, getting more distribute damage, damage 0-1 attacking course, and critical rate continuously makes sense. It's a great skill as well. In fact, most likely the min-maxes will take this even further, but 4 to 7 is more than enough for most people, right? Low investment 4, if you can take it to 7, perfect. When it comes to why these skills levels, well, her skill 1 will be almost permanently be proccing every single thing here. It's based on stacks for skill 2, and this is increased distribute damage, damage level 1 attacking course, and critical rate. This is really big buffs at level 10, which you don't need to be level 10, right? Even at level 7, it's a really big increase in her damage. When it comes to her skill 2, this is her stacks, alright? These can stack up to 10 times on stage 2 and 5 times on stage 3. You will be able to sustain this at level 7, no issues. When we were testing on Scarrow's account, his Quency is fully overloaded, level 5 I believe, and then skills level 7, 7, 10 for the burst. And that was more than enough to sustain her own stacks always. The only moment you will lose some stacks is when you are either reloading, which you will losing some stacks on stage 3 and almost instantly getting them back, or if a boss is jumping around, in that case you will lose the stacks, but once again gain them pretty fast again. The only issue with this is that this makes her kind of situational. She still destroys every single boss you put her on, right? But this is still kind of situational because if a boss is moving too much or is constantly on the back, unless she's properly invested or super invested, it's not really worth bringing her into the fight. Now, when it comes to the burst, once again, attack damage, reloading speed, and some AoE, even though it's not super big with distribute damage. This is final attack as well, so everything scales fantastically. So after her skills, let's talk a little bit about her gear and what the priority is going to be. When it comes to her priority, right, and mine is not invested, I do not have resources, it is what it is, I'm saving for an adversary character, whatever it is. You want to go with elemental damage and hit rate, those are the most important ones. In fact, hit rate takes probably even more priority than Elemental, because that's when she will become a machine gun, right? She becomes a beast when it comes to having 4 hit rate lines, and also thanks to her skill 2 for the extra hit rate stacks in there. So if you can get at least 3-4 lines of hit rate, that would be ideal. Then you want to go for Elemental, then you want to go, of course, for max ammunition, and attack as much as possible as well. So she's a needy girl that needs proper investment in order to become and a super strong character. If you cannot properly invest in her, this doesn't mean she's bad. This still means she's pretty good. And even without investment, Scarrow didn't get a single hit rate line. He only got 1 attack line and 1 elemental line. She's catching up to most DPSs in the game right now. Of course, not to SBS, not to Red Hood, but I will show this in a second. She's catching up to everyone else. So pretty good, even if you cannot fully properly invest in her. So skills and gear, pretty nice. What about the cube, Sefhi? What should I put in her? If you have a resilience or bastion above level 7, 10, 13, that's what you want to use, just because the raw stats are always going to be better than anything else. If all of your cubes are like mine, because I do not buy cubes, right? I am saving for Indivilia MLB background, then even the assault cube for the hit rate is going to be good as well. So you can go assault, or if not, I would go Bastion over Resilience. She already has a really good reload speed. It's not really worth going with Resilience over Bastion. But with the overloaded lines, once again, Bastion makes sense with the max ammo and the extra hit rate lines. So those two are the best ones for her. So all that said, let's actually check a couple of these tests, and then we'll go over also the pros and cons right now that the character has. Again, this is the day 1 review, first impressions. In a couple days, I'll make the final verdict with the tier list updated and everything else. But as you can see, neutral, element, auto, and core hit. Now, auto, and I didn't know about this. I was checking, I think it's NikkeiGG who was explaining this, but when you manual a character, you get extra hit rate. Manual as in you are focusing that character and shooting with your mouse, not auto. So this could affect the rankings or the ratings, but for now, I'm not doing that because I am a filthy casual. I auto everything. So neutral, auto, and core hit on the bosses, right? I was running, for example, as you can see here, a Rogue with Scarlet, Quency, and then Babu with Blank, and she's doing the same damage as Modernia in this team, basically 100 mil difference, Scarlet being pretty close as well. Still, you would not be running this team with her. It's a nice test, but you would not be running this team. We're also running Litter Crown Naga with Scarlet and Quency, and both of them doing the same exact damage, 2.6 billion, 2.6 billion. Interesting though, but Scarlet is fully invested while Quency is not. So I will say Quency is better than Scarlet just as a base DPS you can place on any team. In fact, she's a little bit better than Scarlet because even though she has some conditionals, Scarlet's biggest downside is, first of all, her reload speed and her own HP decrease. You need a healer on the team. You don't need any of that with Quency. She has really good reload speed. She doesn't decrease her, she doesn't kill herself, right? So that's great. We will also run in some other tests with Loot Mommy right here, same team, but Loot Mommy and Quency. Loot Mommy getting more damage, a fully invested Ludmilla. Getting 3.9 versus 3.2 is still pretty good. Depending on the team and the boss, Quency can outperform Ludmilla, and you'll see this in other videos and other content creators, but she can outperform her. It depends on how many hit rate lines you have. It really depends on how much investment you have into your Quency, if she outperforms or not the other water DPS right now, which is Ludmilla or even Modernia, right? Then looks like I forgot to paste one of the tests. That's a pity. So let me put the last one right here. I don't know what the other one was. Clearly I forgot to paste it. And then we were running once again with Rogue, Blank, Modernia, Ludmilla, and Quency. In there, a 2.1 and a 2.2, with the 2.1 pretty close, all of them. Pretty even out. Again, with the Quency with no investment. So all in all, Quency, it's really fucking good. We're talking about the character that, first of all, yeah, right? Like one of the best looking characters they've designed since the Killer Wife to me. To me, since the Killer Wife, this is the best design. She's really strong. She's a character that can be put into any team, even though most likely we're gonna be seeing her with Row Blank, depending on what characters you have. So for example, for me, I do not have the Evangelion girls invested, only Asuka. and it's not fully invested. So since I do not have Rey invested, for me it's going to be Rogue Blanc with Asuka, Quency, and then probably Modernia in there as well for the extra fire damage. So that's gonna be my team for this girl right now. Again, she can be put into any team and she will work out of the box. And then some pros and cons if you guys want for day one, okay? Day one pros and cons. Again, this will change in a couple of days when we make the final verdict, the final review. But she's one of the strongest single target damage dealers in the game for bosses, dealing the same damage as Moderna in some cases and surpassing Winter Ludmilla. Again, this depends on investment, but that alone makes her really, really strong. Skill 2 stacks are easy to maintain, like we were saying earlier. You don't have to worry about those stacks dropping off. Even on auto, she keeps them all the time. There's gonna be like 1 second downtime sometimes when you are reloading, not even reloading, when the boss is jumping around. And then she can be slotted into almost any team thanks to her huge self buffs, similar to the Evangelion characters. This is a pro and a con. In fact, in the con, as you can see, she buffs herself so much with attack damage, and distribute damage, she needs a specific boost in order to get boosted in that damage. So you need damage taken. Right now it's novel or it's blank. There is no more options in there. Most people, that's what we're saying, they're going to be putting her with Rogue Blanc since it does make sense. She's one of the strongest single target damage dealers in the game, but lacks AoE capabilities outside of her burst, which is not the best thing in contrast to other characters, for example, Scarlet, right? When it comes to campaign, for example, for bosses and single targets, she's amazing, but for that AoE damage, she's not that good. Again, it's not any type, she does have her AoE capability on her burst, but it's not that good. And then lastly, she needs high investment in both skills and gears, and that's a lot of investment, which for a lot of people might be super hard right now to pull off. For example, for me, I could start building her. I have some gear that I can be using as fodder, as you can see right here, but I don't want to. You might be thinking, oh, you can build her. Yeah, but then I cannot build the anniversary character. So let's talk a little bit lastly about should you pull or not. I think she is a character that almost anyone can benefit from. Of course, there are exceptions in here, right? If you don't care about raids and for some reason you don't like her design, which I will beat you up in-game, okay, in-game, I think you can skip her. For raids, of course, it's mandatory. She's going to be a character you need. For people who are filling their Pokédex, what are you waiting for? Go pull. For new players, she's a character that will help a lot in helping you clear almost any type of content, right? And then the only other downside is that we're getting Phantom in a week. So we do not know how strong she's going to be, right? So if you are still curious about that and you want to wait for Phantom to see who's better, then you can wait. There is no rush. Both banners are going to be up at the same time. If we go here to guides, as you can see, and let me type this, both banners are going to be running at the same time until the event ends itself. So if you prefer to wait until both are out and we can test them and pitch them against each other, then do that. If not, I would recommend actually getting one copy. When it comes to dupes, absolutely not worth it. Some people will tell you it is, and yes, it's a DPS, it's an attacker, she will benefit from those 2% extra stats, but there is too many characters coming out. Let's be honest, unless you are a big spender, going for MLB outside of your waifus is never worth it, unless it's a limited character, and even for pilgrims, in my opinion, is not worth it either. Again, this is my opinion, you can pull whatever you like though. That said, that's gonna be it for this video. Just wanted to make our first day impressions on Quency. I think she has insane value and it's worth getting at least one copy. I'm gonna be building her after anniversary when we get Cinderella or whatever it is. As usual, thank you to my patrons for making this content possible. Love you all, Posos. Good luck with your pool dinner dates. I'll see you in the next one.
役立たずは楽園から追放するのみ。ブランとノワールのショータイムです。天地万物を切るとはこういうことだ。